So Cover, the company behind Hololive, a Japanese country, strong rooted in tradition, decided to move to California, yeah, much to the horror and dismay of all of its fans. And I had to wonder why. Why is it bad? Like why is it that a for-profit entity moves from Japan to California and immediately causes people to cringe? And the answer seems to be that California isn't just happy with allowing companies to exist. They gotta infect them with the Californian culture. And, when you say Californian culture, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's only to California, but it means like this corporate homogeneity bullshit that the West is forcing onto everything, regardless if it fits or not. And it's a culture of fakeness. It's a culture that destroys human creativity. It's a culture that sanitizes everything. And yea and behold, this is exactly what it does. And you get to notice it by the small gestures, right? Like it barely moved in. And we have a company that, again, is producing VTubers. Like they have some of the most talented artists, some of the most talented animators of our time. And instead of using their brand, they're using one of the most disgusting pieces of art that exists today. And the reason these pieces of art are disgusting is due to their association with the corporate environment. It's like when you see this shit, you're thinking of the cubicle, you're thinking of the destruction of the human spirit. And here's the thing. I also wonder, like, why exactly is this art so extremely offensive? Like, why is it like when people see this type of corpo art, why do they get offended? Because the art is designed to do the opposite. It's designed not to offend. And the reality is, like, first of all, everything can be art, right? The hand of a person on a cave wall can be considered art. But not all art should be elevated. Like, especially not by a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, a multi-billion-dollar company should show art that it would be proud of. Like, if you're not willing to hang this on your bedroom wall, why are you displaying it as your public brand? Why is it that they're not actually trying to create something wholesome, something meaningful, something that creates emotion into people? And that's the first problem, right? Like, it's the idea that art should be something that a 5-year-old can do. Because again, like, if you take a 5-year-old and you ask them to do this, they can do it. So like, there's no effort involved. There's no creativity involved. In fact, if you ask the artists who draw this, they will tell you that usually they have a program where you just, like, swip the heads from one character to another. You have, like, a button that changes the skin tone. Like, for instance, this woman, right? You change her skin tone to purple, looks like a different character. You change the hairstyle to black, looks like a different character. It's so easy to manufacture. It's not art as in, you have an artist in a room and you allow him to express his creativity. Instead, it's like a manufacturing line, like an assembly line, and it just chugs out the art. It chugs out, completely makes it unworthy of a multi-billion-dollar company with heritage and prestige to associate itself with this shit. So that's the first reason. The second reason, as I mentioned, people associate this with The Office, right? People associate this with the cubicle. It doesn't really create a pleasant feeling, like if you were to just take a photo of a fjord from Norway or a mountain vista or something, like, it would actually spark some level of emotion. It would actually spark some level of catharsis. This just doesn't do that. And finally is the hypocrisy associated with it, which is like the epitome of Californian culture. It's the idea that this art should be inoffensive. And even if you were to see, like, the majority of people on the internet being offended, they'll be like, no, you people are wrong, we are right, this is the art that we're using. And then the art itself is corporate in the idea that anyone can do it, right? So you don't need, like, an artist that has to draw it in a specific style, so you don't have to bother that much into finding an artist. And finally, the message as well, like, diversity. And again, like, the message may or may not be good, but it's like a message that I've been hearing since 2016. It's like, diversity, diversity, diversity. It's like, okay, we get it. But, like, Is every single like, this is the thing. Everything needs to have the message. Everything, everywhere. You go to a baseball stadium, diversity. You're tuning in to some entertainment, diversity. You're watching politics, diversity. It's like, okay, enough. Jesus fucking Christ. It's kind of like a ringtone that you put, with the music that you like, and you hear it nonstop, 24-7. You're a Japanese company. What if I don't want diversity? What if I want Japan? Can I get that? No, I get California. And then finally, when you actually read what the company is stating, there are limits to what you can achieve by yourself or just with your team. However, if you get out of your comfort zone and take challenges together across various boundaries, such as team divisions, companies, the possibility is endless. Proactively involve your colleagues involve yourself in the affairs of others to mobilize. Who speaks like this? Like, what human being talks like this? No human being. An HR lady talks like this. Like, seriously, if you have a person in your life that uses therapy language, run. Like, listen to me. You go out on a date and the other person starts speaking therapy language, just fucking run. That's not a human being. That's a cog. That's a corporate mouthpiece. That is a person that has been indoctrinated beyond salvation by the soul-crushing corporate environment. So just run. Just like, people do not express themselves like this. And by the way, I also disagree with the message. The reason Hololive is an amazing company is because it was in Japan. People are moving away from Disney. People are moving away from DC Comics. And they're tuning into these companies because they have something different. Something that's authentic to Japan. When you become the new Disney, when you're like, let's do what Disney does, people go, no. No, if we wanted Disney, we would watch Disney. In fact, in a world where people wanted quality, it would be Disney that's moving to Japan. It would be Californian entertainment companies that are moving to Japan. Why? Because reality. You're looking at the market. You're looking where people are spending money. You're looking at what people actually want. And you'd be like, well, maybe these Japanese people, maybe they know something that we don't. And by the way, this wasn't always the case. This always, right? Like before this, America dominated the entertainment industry. Everyone knew about Superman. Everyone knew about Iron Man. Everyone was like, oh my God, the new Disney movie. And before that, it was French culture. Everyone was watching French theater. Everyone was watching French opera. Like France used to dominate the world culture. And this, like trying to get more companies to join California, I don't think it's going to make California better. I think it's going to make these companies more shit. So I do expect that you're going to see a lot of the talent in the next couple of years starting dropping off because they're going to be asked to sanitize themselves even further. They may be asked to pander to certain messages or shit that they don't believe in. Because they can't help themselves. That's what California is. Like, they literally can't help themselves. They just can't let it be alone. And the reason for this, by the way, is the legislation in California. Like, for instance, you can't just, drop off a company there and continue operating the same way you did in Japan. Like, no, now you need a diversity officer. And the diversity officer is not someone you bring from Japan. It's someone that went to a California university, aka a madhouse, and they learned the ideology from there, and then they're going to start to impose their stuff, and they have a hatred towards cisgender, heteronormative patriarchy, and all the shit that they studied there. And that's how they change the corporate culture. So this is the problem with California, right? Like, sure, maybe it gives better opportunities when it comes to taxes. Maybe your content can be censored at the place so that you don't get into controversy when you try to ship the content overseas. All right, like you can probably benefit from that. But you're going to lose what made your company great. And what's going to happen isn't that like people are going to be captured and they can't choose to watch something else. No, like they're just going to start to watch Korean shit. They're going to start to watch Chinese entertainment. Like, it's fine. The world is a big place. If you keep ruining companies and you keep ignoring the fact that people genuinely hate the Californian culture in their entertainment, well, you're just going to get people to move somewhere else. And, I'm thinking, why did I start liking VTubers? What actually got me to watch VTubers and Hololive in particular? And the answer is Amelia Watson. Amelia Watson got me to like VTubers because she was just a gamer girl that was using gamer words and she was perking out. And I was like, you know what? That's fucking relatable. Like, for the first time ever, I don't just see an e-girl that's pretending to like video games in order to get attention. No. This is an actual woman that plays video games. And then I see that she sings, and then I see that she's talented, and I was like, wow, this is so much different than anything the West does. This is not some Rick and Morty shit. Like, this is a genuine person, an authentic person that has talent and is being a very good entertainer. So that's what attracted me. But if it was made in California, oh my god, like, they would probably have Amelia talk about diversity nonstop, about political issues from the United States that I don't give a shit about, using corporate language, using sanitized speech, making sure that she doesn't do anything mean. It's like, oh, you can't get angry after losing a video game, and like that level of shit. But we'll see, maybe I'm wrong. I do expect, like, what I expect moving forward. I expect that a lot of their VTubers, a lot of their talent, eventually are going to leave due to not appreciating the change in corporate culture. And you're going to see them being replaced, not with people that are talent, but with people that make their identity the sole focus. So perhaps a VTuber that's a person of color, or a VTuber that's trans, or something like that. And they're going to make that the most important thing on the channel, and they're going to start saying, oh, if you don't watch this VTuber, you're a bigot, racist, blah, 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 blah. These people may not even be talented because they're not going to be looking for talent. They're going to be looking for ideology. Like, they want that authentic Californian mindset. So they're not going to be interested in, it's like, okay, let's hire someone that's a person of color and a great entertainer. It's like, no, let's hire a person of color and a great Democrat activist. Kind of like that. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm not or not. And you're going to see the VTube avatars being toned down in sexuality as well. Like, obviously, it's not going to happen to Gura, but the other Hololive characters, the ones that have breasts, are going to have their breasts shrink whenever they renew their model. You may have them get a little bit more masculine feature, like broader shoulders, that type of shit. We'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's my prediction, right? Like, whenever they renew the new model is going to be less sexualized, right? Smaller tits, larger shoulders. Whenever they quit, the new talent is going to be, dare I say, the diversity higher. And I don't say this as in skin color, but I generally mean, like, they will look for a person that's an ideologue, an activist, someone that's connected with activist movements. For instance, like when DC Comics got Zoe Quinn in order to make a comic. Like, Zoe Quinn had no comic book experience, but the reason they got her is because she was connected with activist movements. So I expect hirings like that to take place. And I also expect, like, a tone down in what they can say and do. Much more than it is now, right? Because, like, now with Hololive, they are trying to be apolitical. But with California, I don't know if they can. Like, you're going to see an event that has nothing to do with VTubing, and all of a sudden you're going to have, like, all the VTubers go, like, we condemn this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, who cares? Like, you're entertainers. No one gives a fuck. Kind of like when BLM happened, right? And you had, like, all these companies, like, oh, we strongly support, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, you're a peanut-making company. Who the fuck cares about what you support? Anyway, right, let me know what you think. Again, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I give it 2 or 3 years or so, right? That's kind of the amount of time required for this change to take place. Like, hiring new HR ladies, which are going to fire and hire people at the company based on ideology. Yeah, 2 or 3 years and we're going to see some major changes.